Candance Owens' relentless scolding over the way in which Erica Kirk chooses to work through her grieving process of her own husband is truly disgusting to watch. Her recent so-called gotcha moment of a business call conducted on Zoom where Erica Kirk is speaking with employees or team members of Turning Point USA is her big gotcha moment. And it's truly disgusting because as long as she had people holding on to her every word, she's produced zero facts that Erica Kirk had anything to do with her husband's death. And this is the conclusion she's trying to draw, some suspicion towards Miss Kirk. And in fact, we all know who the murderer is. And, if Candace really wants justice for Charlie, then she should be advocating for the death penalty of the said killer. And we all know who he is. We've all seen his picture. If you've seen the video or even if you attended the event, you know now who he is. So this relentless targeting of Erica Kirk is truly, truly ridiculous. And, I feel like there's either two perspectives here. One is she won't allow herself, and that's Candace, that is, she won't allow herself to kind of work through her grieving process properly. And so she's just presently doing everything she can to try to dismantle what Charlie Kirk has built. If he's truly a friend, why are you attacking his wife and trying to connect his wife to his untimely murder? Right? She lied and she said that she actually introduced Erica Kirk and Charlie. And upon my research, I can't find any images of the two together, like really hanging out as friends, other than the coming together under Turning Point USA. Okay, so what I want to say is this. I feel like Candance Owens is presenting three things: displaced anger, displaced aggression, and projection. See, with the displaced anger, Candace, like I said, she hasn't had the time to really grieve Charlie Kirk. Now, she stated that she had went to Wyoming to just cry, and she kind of got over it that way. And I don't really think that she did really grieve because she's picking on minute things, and she has no right to also tell Erica Kirk how she should grieve. Candace mentioned that she thought it was weird that Erica Kirk said that, the least of her trauma was in the fact that she would be a single mom. And I mean, yeah, like why would that be traumatizing to her? The most traumatizing thing to her was when she was on stage beside her husband and seeing her husband be murdered. I think that would be the most traumatizing experience that she had. And then, Candace has also said that Erica, she's too happy when she was speaking. She was smiling or whatever. And I think she intentionally just recorded the audio of the Zoom call instead of like showing the video from the Zoom call. Because if you watch the Zoom call, she smiled, when she came on or whatever. And she was just talking and expressing the business aspect. Because what that was a business call. And see, when you have a husband and they have created a big business in the way that Charlie Kirk had, somebody has to keep things going. And maybe that's helping Erica Kirk to keep going by running, just going in, hands on, dealing with the numbers, dealing with the thing. When you're on a business call, you're going to discuss numbers. You're not going to sit on a Zoom call and just sit there and cry and oh my God, what was me? And she did. She was trying to work through it. It seemed to me like she was trying to work through that business call, and still try to be uplifting to other people, because I think she feels that now, these people are relying on her. These are her husband's people, and they're relying on her to keep things going and rolling, now that he's deceased. So I think that's what she's trying to do. So like I said, Candace is, like I said in the beginning, she's either truly and inherently evil, or she just has not dealt with her grievance. So this displaced anger is when you haven't dealt with the pain and confronted it directly. Then you have this aggression, and that's when a person, they will not only, misdirect anger, but they may become verbally or physically hostile towards someone, who's unrelated, or unrelated, which would be Erica Kirk. And that's what I see. I feel like Candance feels guilt. I think she loved Charlie Kirk a lot because I could not find anything where she ever said anything negative about him. She admired him a lot. And I think she feels some guilt that maybe she didn't spend enough time with him when he passed. Maybe she felt like if she was present, she would have somehow been able to rescue him or save him. Maybe she felt like people around him didn't do enough to shield him, or whatever the situation is. But she's taking it out on this woman, and it's a shame how so many people come to the internet every day to hear this kind of stuff when she hasn't presented any facts. We've had some time now since he passed away, and she hasn't presented any facts that this woman would be motivated, to take her husband out, and like why she would want to do that. As far as expressing her grievance, she's constantly criticizing her for that. You don't know what triggers her. Her and her husband share personal moments, just like Candance and her husband share personal moments. So there will be things that will trigger Erica. As someone who lost my husband's been gone for 4 years now. And there are certain scents, there are certain colors. It might be a joke. It might be something that popped in my head, and I really turn to like, I'm going to share this with my husband. I have to come back to the fact that he's not here. I can't, tell him this or whatever. So different things will trigger you. It could be a song or an event. She said her and her husband used to take nightly walks. She might be able to take those little walks fine, and then it'll be just one day she'll be walking and grief will just hit her. When you go through grief, it's none of anybody's business to really tell you how you should display your grief. I think it's just truly disgusting. I don't know. I know I get that Candance hurt, but I don't like the fact that she's constantly doing this. It comes up on my news feed, no matter how much I downlike it. My personal news feed that I have with my software, I'm constantly getting these stories, and it's just annoying to me. And you would think somebody as intelligent as Candance would, recognize that she is spiraling out of control. You're an intelligent woman. My community, we don't really care for your rhetoric, the way you have disrespected us or whatever. We weren't big fans of Charlie Kirk. I never really listened to him until like after he passed away to really see what people were mad about, whatever. But at the end of the day, he is gone. He's gone, and people need to grieve and do what they need to do, and his wife needs to be left alone, just like any woman who loses their husband. They shouldn't be vilified on how they grieve. Oh, look at her, she's out getting a Sunday and her husband just died. Look at her, she up here shopping and her husband. People deal with things in different ways, and like I said, people don't usually share those most intimate moments when they're broken down and when something triggers you from the loss of a loved one. You don't click online, look at me, y'all, look at me grieving now. You don't do that. So I just find a lot of stupidity in this, and I'm baffled by the amount of attention she gets when it comes to this. It's just completely stupid to me. And like I said, I just wanted to address it in my own little way, and I just wanted to talk about some of the stages of grieving. The projection and all of that. Like I said, that's what it is. So the projection is her feeling her helpless in the fact that she could not save Charlie. And she needs to go somewhere and deal with that. Don't post no more videos for a little while. Give yourself a rest and go deal with the fact that Charlie isn't here anymore. And you weren't able to save him. None of this diving down the rabbit hole is going to bring him back. And you're not going to draw any new answers to what happened to him, because the killer is the one with all the answers, and we have him in custody. Now, I don't know if maybe Candance Owens needs to arrange some form of meeting with him and go down there and talk to him. If he'll see you or whatever, maybe she needs to go down there and talk to him. Get it out that way. But the constant bullying that's going on that Google is allowing is astonishing to me. Because we make videos about lesser things, and they've been stricken and just removed from off your channels because you said you can't say this word, you can't say that word, but yet people like Candance Owens, people with large platforms, can constantly get on the internet and relentlessly target people and try to do everything they can to destroy people. And Google seems not to have a problem with that. So, this is just my little rendition, my little venting and frustration, because I'm tired of this crap coming across my goddamn feed because I don't tap into it. So I wish I could get it out. No matter how much I downlike it, I keep getting these stories. So this was just like the final straw for me. I was like, I'm gonna come on and express myself about this because it's really stupid and really ridiculous. And Google needs to, have a conversation with Candance about bullying, because pretty much that's what you're doing. The woman has 2 children that she has to care for, and she don't need you and your ilk constantly bullying her 24/7. It's disgusting. And do better, Candance. I'm Maneater 38, and I'm out.